folks, Jermaine Farrell in the house. It is the Hardee's Friday Night Blitz Media Days. We're getting you ready for the 2024 season, and of course, it is the time to shine the light on the Brookville Bees. And join me right now, a guy who's making a comeback. It's like John Sebastian. Welcome back, head coach of the Brookville Bees, Dr. Mark Lineburg. I know you don't want me to call you doctor, but you paid money for that doctor, and I'm going to call you that, sir.
And earned it, yes. So
You've earned it.
Yeah, I like being called coach better. So.
All right, so Coach Dr. Mark Lineburg.
No, just how about coach?
We'll do that too. All right, you've asked for it. We're going to give it to you. So, Coach, first of all, congratulations. And obviously, your first year back, you coached at Brookville from 92 through 97, had a lot of success there. But I guess the big question is, I mean, you've been in administration over the last few years, but what made you want to come back as a head football coach?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to come back and coach. I mean, it would have been something that I'd set my sights on maybe my entire career. I kind of built my career and said I always wanted to get back to coach and teach again, and knew that this was an option that I would have, that I would be able to retire one day, and even though I don't ever consider myself retired, but I could do that and come back and coach, and it was a dream. I mean, I've been planning this for some time. It just happened to be come back to the school that I love the most, Brookville High School.
You know, we talk about the Lineburg name. I mean, it starts with your dad, Norm Lineburg, legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach with Radford, leading them to all the success over the years. What is the biggest thing you took from your dad as a coach and as a person?
So the thing that his teams did so well that stand out the most is I can hear him bellowing and hollering at his team is to get up, and that wasn't just mean get up to fire. I mean get up after getting knocked down, get up after losing a game. That was who his teams were, and that's who he is. Hustle, you know, diving for loose balls. That's really the quintessential Radford Bobcat team, is that you played harder than your opponent. I don't remember exactly what offense and defenses that he ran, although to a degree, but it was how they played that was important, which was really, really hard.
And the thing is, I mean, obviously you're nearly 30 years removed from coaching, and you know, how's the adjustment been? I mean, because obviously, you know, football's football, but how's the adjustment been from when you coached back in the 90s to today?
Well, first off, I will say this: kids have not changed over time. I mean, a lot of people say they're different or they're not as good as they used to be. I've always taken kind of the opposite approach. Kids are generally the same generation after generation. They do the right thing. Most of the time, they all make mistakes. So kids haven't changed any. And then as far as transitioning back into coaching, I'm real lucky that the entire staff is made up of guys that most of them have played for me, that I've known really well, who've had really successful careers. So that has really helped the transition as well.
Of course, one guy, Jeff Woody, who was a head coach there, and obviously he was a head coach at EC Glass, so he's kind of familiar with things. How big is it to have him kind of back with you?
Well, Jeff is like a little brother to me. I mean, I've known Jeff for, you know, it's been 30-some years since I've known Jeff, and Jeff and I are extraordinarily close, and having him on the staff is critical. So unbelievable that I had the opportunity to get him back on the staff, and he's the all-time winningest coach in Brookville history. And we had always talked about coaching with one another, and just real fortunate it came to be this way. This has been a lifelong dream of mine, was to coach with Jeff, and we'd also we can coach together one day, and so we're lucky to coach together.
So looking at last year's team, went 3-7,
yes.
And now looking at that. And looking at this year, as far as starters, how many starters you got back on both sides of the ball, and who are the guys we should have our eyes on your team?
Well, I mean, I'm not even sure how many starters we have back from last year because we're building a new team.
Right.
I do think that we do have some strengths. I think that our offensive line ought to be a good unit up front. Most of those guys are back from last year. We got a quarterback back from last year, Lincoln McDaniel, who I think is going to be an outstanding ball player. I think the Brown brothers will be really, really good on both sides of the ball. They're really good defensive players as well. Elijah Hughes ought to be solid at running back. And we have some exciting receivers, too, that I think we can get the ball to.
How much fun are you having knowing that the season is coming up? Because I know, I mean, you know, the game against Patrick Henry is not really around the corner, but the first stage, which is obviously the fall camp. But looking at it now, I mean, how exciting is it to know you're right there at it?
It's so exciting. I mean, there's nothing like high school football. It is pure magic. There's nothing in the world like a winning high school locker room after a big upset victory over beating your rival or winning a championship. I mean, there's those things in life that are just pure magic. And in high school, a victory on a Friday night in high school football is one of them. It's really, really special.
And then looking at, I remember when I played, I graduated high school in '92, went to Patrick Henry, and, obviously the off season, the coaches couldn't be around, couldn't even deal with the players. But now it's kind of different. How refreshing is that now? Because now you're jumping back in and you can actually interact with your players and show them what needs to be done on the field and all that. Whereas, you had to pretty much start from square one in the fall with the playbook and everything else.
Well, I mean, the transition to summer has been great because we've been out there working with the kids all summer. I mean, 4 days a week, and we've had great participation. They work really, really hard. So that has certainly eased the transition and let everybody know our coaching staff. So that has been great just to get to know the kids, and they've worked extraordinarily hard.
It did, obviously, the Seminole District. Let's face facts. That's when I say Seminole, you're like, whew. I mean, the Seminole District is the Seminole District, and there's nothing easy in that district.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great coaches in there. Brad Bradley at Heritage is a great football coach. I mean, over the years, I always would text Brad at the end of the season, thanks for what you do for high school football. Jamar Lovelace at EC Glass is such a great football coach. J.T. Cruz at Jefferson Forest is a wonderful football coach. All those, and then you add in LCA, which makes the mix even more difficult. So it is a great district. It always has been. It's the toughest district in the state for our size school. So it's a tough road to hoe. Yeah.
So, Coach, when you look at the season ahead, at the end of the day, what do you feel will be the key to having the success that you hope and expect to have at Brookville?
I mean, Brookville football has always been about toughness, and it's always been about playing hard and being tough and controlling the ball and not making mistakes. And that's what we've got to be successful. We've got to be a really well-coached team that executes on offense, keeps the ball, and plays good defense and has good special teams play. Make few mistakes.
So for people who probably don't know the Coach Mark Lineburg, sorry, I was going to use the other word, but I'm not Coach Mark Lineburg. For people who don't know, give people some more background as far as your coaching and the administrative stuff and all the stuff you've done in the past, and what makes you tick. What are some of the things you love doing away from football?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm a public school advocate. I think public school is the most important institution in the entire world. American public school, we teach and do things better than anything else. And I have been fortunate enough to be a superintendent 3 different times, and those were great experiences. But I always longed to get back into teaching and coaching and teaching. And I will teach this year for Brookville. I'm going to teach high school English and an AP class as well, and look forward to doing that. And for me, it's football is more of the reason I came back, but I love books just as well, and can't wait to teach good literature to kids in school this year and how to write better, and that'll be wonderful as well.
And you mentioned how big education is. I know in the Lineburg household, that's how it is. But I mean, you have a brother that's an assistant coach at Wake Forest.
Right.
You have a brother that's in administration at Northside. You have one that's in administration at Radford University.
Yeah.
So it's in different levels. Is that something, obviously, that your dad, Coach, stressed that, hey, education is so important to get to the next level? There's sports, but then the education is big?
I do think that was part of it for the 3 brothers. Robert, of course, at Radford University, athletic director, and Paul at Northside, and Wayne at Wake Forest. And also my uncle, Robert Young, Bob Young, was Mike Young, the basketball coach at Virginia Tech. His father's my uncle. So there was this, lots of family dinners where we talked about education and coaching and the importance of it and making an impact on it. And if you could look back on those conversations, I mean, you had been proud to hear those conversations, but you could also see the foresight and the conversation about how to coach and even what's happening in college and high school athletics that they were talking about this 25 years ago. You could see these changes taking place. So it was interesting conversations, and it was neat to grow up in that house and be exposed to so many coaches. I mean, college coaches, high school coaches in my life. It's really, I don't think that many people have been fortunate enough to have those kinds of experiences, and I'm lucky to have had those.
Well, Coach, it's great to have you back in the game, sir, and it's be great to see you on the sidelines. I appreciate meeting you for the first time. It's like first week I think I've met all the Lineburgs, but I haven't met you yet. So this has been great, so thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There you go. Coach Mark Lineburg of the Brookville Bees. They're getting ready. Their opener will be against Patrick Henry coming up in August. And we're getting you ready for the season just like everybody else. Hardee's Friday Night Blitz Media Days. Getting you ready for the 2024 season.
Brayden Huseonica, BRAYDEN HUSEONICA.
Where you go to school?
Brookville High School.
And what year in school are you?
I'm a senior.
And what is your position?
I play center.
All right, cool. You don't have to worry about that. You can look at me, okay? Well, talk to me. Been a change another guard. You guys got Dr. Lineburg.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Well, it's definitely a change. He's brought in a whole new coaching staff. It's been a fun experience. The attitude and type of, just like what he brings to the field, and not just on the field, but off the field too. He cares about the players off the field, and like when we're in practice, he pushes us, and I feel like it's a good experience for new people and returning people that didn't get that experience last year. And now it's a whole new coaching staff too, and he brought in really good people, really good coaches. I've bonded with all of them. I feel like the whole team has, and I feel like the whole team really likes the whole coaching staff.
Did you feel like this team kind of needed a little bit of a clean slate?
Yeah, I feel like coming off that 3-7 last year, going into this year, I feel like we needed a clean slate, and now that we got it, I feel like some of the players that didn't play last year that are coming in this year don't have that experience from last year. So we're learning from a new winning staff, and we're just ready to get the season started, really. We've been putting in work at practice, summer workouts, and we're just ready to get the season started.
Do you feel like, I guess, the expectation level has kind of risen higher? I mean, I felt like there was a lot of expectations last season. Unfortunately, it didn't necessarily work out what you guys wanted, but I feel like those expectation level that you had last season, you actually have now put those on a higher pedestal. Is that kind of what's going on?
I feel like we have put the expectations higher, but we're working there. Some players aren't used to the expectations being that high, but we're definitely getting there in practice. We're still miles away from where we want to be. Where we want to be is a state championship, but we're ready to get there, and we're working really hard at practice every day, every week. Some players coming in on off days, doing practice on the field. Coaches notice those things and feel like we're just ready to go.
And what does that mean to you as being like one of the senior leaders of this team, to kind of see that, and then you also have to enforce that at the same time, right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely try to help around wherever I can, like players struggling in workouts, go help them, talk them up. We do a lot of running, conditioning. Players not fully being able to finish the running, I go out there and just help them, talk them up. We don't ever put our teammates down. We put teammates first, coaches first, on the field and off the field. Like we all got to be a family out there, because without the family, then you can't do nothing really.
I mean, you guys are also in a tough district too, and I know that Brookville is synonymous with winning. I mean, you guys have been in the promised land before. So, I mean, what does it mean for you personally as being one of the senior leaders to kind of get back to the promised land?
For sure. I really want to go out there, get as many wins as we can this season, make it to the playoffs. Not just make it to the playoffs, but make a deep run in the playoffs. Last year we didn't really exceed the expectations. This year I feel like we're coming in, we're ready to go, and we want to get higher than the expectations we have set for ourselves for sure.
Do you guys feel like you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, I guess, going into the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, week 1 going into Patrick Henry, I know last year the score says we definitely had a blowout, but second quarter we were there, and then we just had a couple turnovers, and then we lost. I feel like last year, after we had a bad situation, we just kind of got lazy and didn't really set ourselves up for success. And I feel like going into this season, we have to know there's a chip on our shoulder and go into every game thinking we got this, we gonna win. We can't look at anything about last season that happened. We gotta keep looking forward.
So it's all about a little bit fine tuning this year.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And for you personally, since it's your senior year, I mean, is it kind of surreal that you're here and you're about to have your first last game? Is that weird?
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking on it lately. I'm like, this is my last season, man. Gotta make it great.
Cool beans. You got something?
Just set a goal, like, for yourself, a personal goal, as well as for the team. What would that be? What would that look like for y'all?
Just to not put all the winning and losing aside, just to all become friends and be teammates even after we're done with this high school stuff, and really become a good family, have each other's for life, really.
With, wanting a clean slate, not trying to think about last season, but obviously there were lessons to be learned from last season.
Yes.
What did y'all kind of learn that you're going to hopefully apply for this upcoming season?
To be better teammates, really. I mean, in the locker room, off the field, on the field, not really yell at each other. Just to coach each other up, basically. I mean, when the coaches aren't there, like say we come in on an off day and you want someone to just text somebody, like if you need help on the field, even off the field, I had a coach tell me today, like if we need anything, just text them. They want to be here for the mental support side of things, not just the game side of things.
Knowing that, like, you know, everything isn't about football, how does that make you feel that you do have that type of mentorship, and being a senior, you can pass along that type of leadership as well?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like it. Like last season, I feel like we had a little bit of it, but not as much. But as soon as these new coaches came in, first day I came to practice, they were all on me. They were like, "What's your name? How you doing? What do you like to do? What do you want to do in your future?" Like, it's not all about football; it's about family too, for sure.
All right, it's the off season. What you been up to besides football? You having fun? It's summer.
That new college football game just came out, so I'm about to be playing that a lot.
Everybody was on that. I'm like, oh.
Oh yeah.
You got a favorite food?
Mexican.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
different. Any hidden talents? Something special? Let nobody know you can do?
Not really.
Not really.
I'm normal.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for me. We're gonna get you off the chair
Landon Brown,
and spell it.
LandonBrown.
Okay. And then year in school,
Brookville High School,
graduating year,
class of 2025.
and position.
I play linebacker.
You want to take the first swing at it? No, you go for it. Okay. Just talk a little about last season. You know, the ups and downs. You know, started off strong, but what was kind of like the slump in that middle of the season?
We definitely went into last year with high expectations. You know, coming off of a really good last season before that, coming into that season, you know, it's kind of, you know, expected at Brookville to keep going, have another great season. And unfortunately, it just didn't happen last season. I'd say most of that comes from a lot necessarily on the players. I feel like, not to put anybody down, I feel like we had a lot of selfish players last year that didn't really help out as much. Last year was more of a focus of me. But there was a lot of downs, more downs than there was ups last year. And that's something that we are definitely trying to fix this year and make sure that we have more ups than we do downs.
You mentioned a lot about like the me. What's the chemistry like now going into this episode?
The chemistry is really good this year. I believe that, you know, our whole team is really good friends, or more so we can kind of like bond together and not really, you know, stick to us. You know, I think we've realized more this year, and our coaches have actually helped us with that, realizing that it's going to take all of us to really combine and lock in here and actually have a really good season.
With it being your senior year, what are you looking forward to this upcoming season? Like, are you happy? You kind of bittersweet?
My senior year, it's crazy how fast it has flown by. You know, I'm really happy for this season, but at the same time, you know, I've gotten sad a few times realizing that this is my last year playing football. I've played ever since I was 5 years old, so this game has been everything to me. Everything I've ever known has been football. So I'm going into my senior year really focused on trying to have fun and having the best season that we possibly can for my senior season.
Talk about the coaching staff with, you know, the new people coming in, but it seems like y'all already kind of just like clicked.
The coaching staff ever since the start has been great. Ever since Coach Lineburg and some others have been there, all it's been is great. First time meeting them, it was like just great. They met us all, and more importantly, they, you know, talked to us and asked us, you know, who we are, what do we like, you know, what positions do we play. More so not, you know, most coaches, you know, ask you, you know, what position do you play? What is your film? Let me see your film and everything. But they, you know, they got real personal even from the start. And that's one thing I really appreciate the most is coaches who can connect with you on a personal level rather than just a sports, because nowadays kids get so wrapped up in my performance and what am I going to do tonight. But when you have coaches that back you up and know that they're there for them no matter what, then it makes it so much easier.
We all know that you guys got the tools, the skills, that you guys can be a winning team. Describe to me kind of like the outlook of what we should expect, hopefully, for the upcoming season
Right.
for you guys.
Everyone should expect a really tough team that isn't going to stop from the start of the whistle to the end. That's one thing we've emphasized this year, especially the coaches, is being tough. I feel like Brookville has always been a tough, I feel like over the years we've always been tough, and that's kind of like what we are known for. But more so that, being tough, grit, and determination to push through and really do it for Brookville. One thing that I have, as a senior, have harped on to the younger guys is doing it more so for Brookville rather than doing it for yourself, because in the end of the day, you are playing for Brookville and you are representing our school however way you represent it, and it's really good. So I expect really good expectations for this team this year, especially with the coaching staff we have. Definitely still a little bit on the younger side, but also definitely have some older guys as well that I think will help with that.
How much pride do you take in putting in that jersey on every Friday night?
I take a lot of pride in it. I came to Brookville my sophomore year, so I can't say I've always been a B, but ever since I've been here, it's been amazing. I love Brookville. I'm a B, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Brookville is like a home to me. All the teachers, all of the students, they really take pride in Brookville. And even if you ask not just me, but other Brookville fans as well, they'll tell you that it really is like a family. And putting on this jersey means the world to me to go out and compete for Brookville and for this school to try and bring something back.
It's your senior year, but like you say, you have some youngs coming in.
Right.
And what type of role model do you want to be for them, just so this program can keep excelling and not fall back into that slump that y'all saw last season?
Right. I want to be someone that somebody can learn from and more so pick up on. After I leave next year, I want somebody to kind of be that person that somebody wants to step into that role again. That's kind of the biggest thing that I've always done, is be someone that people will like, and more so people will want to be. I think by doing the right things and also being there when nobody else is, I think that if the younger people can pick up on what the right guys are doing, then that's what will help in the future keep going, like the winning culture that we have. It has to keep going, but it all started somewhere. So once they learn from them, it just builds and builds and builds and keeps going.
All right, set a goal for this team for this year.
My goal is really just from last season, not making playoffs, is making playoffs this season. I want to go into my senior year, not just for me, but for the team, to have that playoff experience. I feel like last year, by not having those sophomores and some freshmen not having that playoff experience can suck, and they don't know what it's like. But I've been fortunate enough to been in the playoffs before, so I know how it feels and how important it is and how emotional it can be to lose a game in the playoffs. So my main goal this year is really to make playoffs and go as far as we can possible.
Now, okay, besides workouts this summer, you got the new college football game too?
Right. I think I'm going to get it soon. But most of my summer has honestly just been me relaxing. I've been to the beach with my friends, and that was really good. But other than that, just going to football practice and, just doing my own thing.
You got a favorite food?
I'd probably have to say I don't have a favorite food, but Chinese food is always just done the thing for me. Every time after, I practice or after anything, I can go to Panda Express 7 days of the week because orange chicken and rice always fills me up every single day. So I could eat that forever.
Any hidden talents, something unique about yourself? What can you do?
I guess I also play baseball too, and I enjoy that. But a hidden talent that I don't really do. I can touch my nose with my tongue.
No way.
So it's actually kind of
Are
crazy.
you gonna do it for us? Hold on, let me zoom in.
Wow.
Now you gotta do it. Okay, you ready?
That's great. Okay, now everybody.
Now everybody knows.
Yeah, now everybody knows my hidden talent.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I